I think on some of these issues, and the South China Sea conflict is by far the most important one. China's recent foreign policy, last 2 years, a year and a half really, has been pretty disastrous. I mean, they've been able to undermine within a very short period of time very patient work going on for almost 20 years, or more than 20 years in some cases, to bring the crucial region, crucial to them and crucial to the world, of Southeast Asia closer to them. I mean, in a very short period of time, they've been able to undermine all of that by the way their demands on access to what they believe, most people now believe, are quite critical amounts of resources in the South China Sea, how that has been presented and how that has been pushed. It shows some of the weakness in Chinese foreign policy overall. Whether it's an overall turn in the direction of a more aggressive behavior or a more forceful behavior, put it that way, internationally, I don't know. I mean, I'm very doubtful about that. I think much of the discussion about these kinds of issues now in China is pretty open, and I've participated in some of them with officials from the party and from the foreign ministry. Many of these guys understand that what they've done with regard to ASEAN and what they've done with regard to the South China Sea has not served China's interests. And they are trying their best now to get out of it, to back away from it, and return to what they now have started calling all of a sudden Deng Xiaoping's approach to Southeast Asia. Maybe a bit too late in the case of a few countries, but we will see. Internationally, I think what's going on at the moment is an attempt to figure out what China's real interests in a broader sense actually are. Develop what, if you want to use that term, a grand strategy for China's rise, China's emergence in the world. But that grand strategy, if indeed it does exist, is very unclear. I mean, it's very uncertain what China wants to do in a broader context. It has a fairly good sense of what it wants to do within its own wider region. But as soon as you get out of it, as you've seen with Libya or with Syria now, Chinese diplomacy stalls. It goes back to principles. I mean, as I said earlier on, there's a lot of talk about sovereignty. That's fine. I mean, sovereignty is a wonderful principle, but it's not a policy. I mean, if you're supposed to be a rising international power, you're also supposed to lead, at least up to some extent. To some extent. And China is not doing that on many of the critical issues outside its own region. Maybe part of the reason for that is that it's so unclear to many within the Chinese leadership themselves what China would actually want to achieve. And that's a difference, if you think about this as at least a gradual power shift in global international affairs. When this country rose to international prominence, there was it took a very long time, but there was a gradual getting together of a set of concepts, of ideas about what America wanted to do in the world. Contentious and much debated, but still, cohering around the middle part of the 20th century. China doesn't have that. What China wants at the moment, it's not to change the international system. It simply wants more for China within that system. And that's crucially different from much of what we have seen before.